If you thought that airdrop season was over, I have news for you. There's still lots of juice left in this thing. So let's jump into everything you need to know about crypto airdrops today, starting out with one of the biggest announcements, which is that Renzo Protocol is launching their token. The ticker symbol is going to be REZ, and this is going live on the Binance launch pool, which means that a couple of days later, maybe a week later, it's actually going to be live and trading. So for now, if you want to stake BNB and FDUSD on the Binance platform in order to earn a share of this, you can do that. Although usually that's only really going to be beneficial for people that have a significant amount of capital. However, the super bullish thing about this is it means we're actually getting very close to the Renzo airdrop, at least Renzo airdrop round 1, because nowadays there's never just a one and done airdrop. Anyways, if we scroll down here, we can actually see some details on the tokenomics. So the total initial circulating supply is going to be 1 billion tokens, but the maximum supply is going to be 10 billion. And while 2.5% of the total token supply is going to the Binance launch pool, 10% is going to the actual airdrop. However, not all of that 10% is coming through in round 1, because if we scroll down here, you can see that there's a 2-step process for this airdrop. So it looks like round 2 is going to be in July and round 1 should be about 5%. So stay tuned for more info on this one. The token is going to be coming soon. You basically have one last chance to try and maximize some easy points to get this airdrop. Although moving forward, there will be more rounds, and actually they just launched bonus points on the Mode L2 for the next 2 weeks, where you can earn a bunch of points for easy points as well as mode points. And then on that point, a lot of people have been saying that the mode airdrop isn't happening anymore and throwing their hands up in the air. But honestly, this was always going to be another multi-stage airdrop, the mode airdrop I'm talking about now anyways. So airdrop 1 is currently ongoing. They said that the TGE was going to be sometime before the end of April. There has been no news from the team that this has changed. And just because they've launched new points boost doesn't mean that it's not happening, because there's going to be future rounds of this airdrop and their point system will continue moving forward even after the token goes live. And then another important piece of information for you on this mode airdrop is the dev drop distribution. So I somehow missed this. They actually released an article talking about it about a month ago on April 4th. But the TLDR of this is that they've allocated additional supply for what's called a dev drop. So the total supply of this additional allocation, separate from the actual airdrop in round 1, is 0.5% of the total supply. And if you recall, the first round of the airdrop is 5.5%. So it's just a bonus additional 0.5% basically. And the way that it works is Mode has allocated this dev drop to projects within the Mode ecosystem, and those projects have to pass it on to the users, but they get to decide how that's going to work. Now, if you go to your Mode points dashboard right now, you might have noticed that there's these new categories that popped up for photons and orbs. And these photons and orbs are what represent the additional bonuses that you can earn from the dev drop. So these are going to be NFTs, and I believe there's 10 photons for every 1 orb. So the orbs are worth more and are more rare. And then in terms of how to actually earn them, each project, like I said, is going to decide how to distribute them. As far as I can tell, Kim Exchange is the only one that's actually released a detailed post talking about how they're going to distribute their version of the dev drop. So this just started yesterday. It's going from April 22nd to May 6th. And in order to get an allocation of this additional supply, you need to either be in the top 100 on the Kim Exchange leaderboard. So Kim Exchange is where you can just make swaps and LP on the Mode L2. Or another way that you can earn photons and orbs from the Kim Exchange dev drop is to provide at least $100 in liquidity during the period of this campaign. So people that provide liquidity will take home a pro rata share of the dev drop. So yeah, that's how it works for Kim Exchange. And then for every other project in the Mode L2 that got an allocation, and actually if I scroll down here, I think there was a list. Yeah, so here we can see all of these projects within the Mode ecosystem got an allocation of these photon and orb NFTs, which are going to be exchangeable for the Mode token in that additional extra supply. So you can see which protocols got lots of them. It looks like Ionic got a lot, Kim Exchange got a lot, Swap Mode got over 10,000 as well, but there's quite a few options in here. And if you interact with these protocols, there's a decent chance that you'll get some of the bonuses from this. So yeah, that is what is going on with Mode. We're going to see some of this token soon, within the next week or two. There's going to be ecosystem drops as well from different projects like Ionic and Kim Exchange. And then this bonus dev drop is happening at the same time. All right, next up, let's talk about the Safe token. Now, this is kind of like an OG airdrop, but if you use the Safe wallet for multi-sigs, you might have gotten an allocation for this. The tokens were non-transferable, but as of today, they're actually transferable and liquid. So congratulations to people that are finally getting some liquidity on the Safe token. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, honestly, you can just disregard this because this is not a retroactive claim and there's not much you can do at this point. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about EtherFi because they have this new stake rank system for season 2. And if you are using the YT pools on Pendle to farm this airdrop on leverage, and I know a lot of people have been doing this, you need to be careful because your rank will go away if you have less than 0.1 ETH restaked via EtherFi, including all of the different avenues where you could have this. But basically, if you're using the YT pools on Pendle, one of those pools is maturing tomorrow. And if that was your only exposure to EtherFi, then you are going to lose your stake rank if you don't have at least 0.1 ETH in a balance via some other means. So that's important to note. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. If you already knew this and you didn't care, that's fine. But if you want to keep your stake rank because it comes with a points multiplier, then it's important to make sure that you stay above that threshold. And if you don't do anything, when your YT hits maturity tomorrow, it will be like you don't have anything staked with EtherFi anymore. And then speaking of the YT pool on Pendle, since this thing is maturing tomorrow, and any amount that you put into it, you lose fully the value of the capital in exchange for these ridiculous points multipliers. Well, right now, if I were to make a deposit, I would get 1,246x on the points for making that deposit today. But then tomorrow the value of my capital will be worth 0. So let's say theoretically I was going to throw some USDC into this. I'm actually going to do it just to put my money where my mouth is. So I could put 80 USDC into the YT pool right now, and this would be like the equivalent of me holding almost 12 ETH in my wallet for one day, and I would get the corresponding points for EtherFi and for EigenLayer for doing this, but then as of tomorrow, that $80 has evaporated. Now the price impact on this is high because if I was to buy this right now for 80 USDC, I wouldn't be able to sell it for 80 USDC anymore. But since theoretically I'm doing this to get that ridiculous 1200x multiplier on the points, let's just go ahead and do it. This is basically me throwing away 80 USDC to get a ridiculous points multiplier just to juice up my EtherFi staking position for one day. Okay, next up, if you have Dimension tokens staked, you can go and vote on the new 2D upgrade proposal. Basically, what this means is the first ever rollup is actually ready to be deployed on chain. And the rollup that I'm talking about is NIM. So this means that the NIM token mainnet launch is happening soon, as well as the airdrop and the token genesis event. Anyways, you should always go and vote on these proposals if you're staking Dimension whenever you can. Okay, next up, there is an update to the Gitcoin Passport scoring system. So if you haven't checked your Gitcoin Passport in a while, you should definitely go today, refresh your stamps and see what your score is, because lots of people have seen their scores change. In some cases, it's gone up, and in other cases, it's gone down. Now, two of the main changes are they added a bunch of additional points for NFT holdings and NFT transactions, and then also they added a bunch of additional points for ZK Sync activity. So if we go into the Gitcoin Passport system now, you can see that with this wallet here, my score has gone up to 51. I think yesterday or before this went through, it was somewhere in the mid 20s. And in terms of where the majority of these points are coming from, I'm getting 12 points from Ethereum activity, including the amount that I've spent on gas fees, the number of transactions, the days, but mainly from this ETH enthusiast category. Then from the ZK Sync score, I now have 2.28 points, but one of the big ones is NFTs, where I have 13.1 points. And so you get points based on the number of transactions and the type of NFTs that you hold. Of course, there's a lot of other ways that you can get stamps and points for this. Anyways, definitely go and check your Passport scores. Make sure that you can get it above that threshold of 20 ASAP, especially since there's a bunch of big ticket airdrops coming through in the next couple of weeks that might rely on this, including ZK Sync. And then speaking of Gitcoin, Gitcoin Grants Round 20 just went live, and it's going to be live for the next 2 weeks. So if you've never participated in one of these before, basically what it means is you make small donations to different projects that are supposed to be public goods within the Ethereum ecosystem. And in exchange for doing this, what you get is there's actually a stamp that you can get for your Gitcoin passport that helps you verify proof of humanity by making donations. So if you donate at least $10, you'll get some points. If you donate more than that, you get more points. But then aside from that, making donations to Gitcoin grants could potentially be airdrop qualifiers or multipliers. Projects like Optimism have valued people that actually donated and helped promote Ethereum public goods before, and it's possible that other projects moving forward will also rely on Gitcoin donations as some sort of airdrop criteria. So if you have a little bit of money that you want to allocate to this, I would say at a minimum, try to do $10. And then if you have more, obviously totally up to you. In terms of what projects to actually donate to, there's tons of options. You can choose infrastructure projects, developer projects, just random apps, and then hackathon projects. Personally, I would try to choose projects that either A, I actually like and want to give back to, or that B, might be linked in some way to other airdrops. So for example, within the apps ecosystem, I noticed that Hey.xyz, yeah, here it is. They are accepting donations, and this is a social media platform built on the Lens protocol. Lens might have a token someday, so who knows? If you make donations to projects that could be in some way linked to other airdrops, that's also another way that you can increase your airdrop surface area. All right, moving on now to the Gummy airdrop. So you should be farming this if you have a burner device or if you just have some spare space on your computer to leave the Banter Bubbles app open. Basically, the way that it works is the longer you leave the Banter Bubbles app open on your device, the more points that you earn for round 2 of the airdrop. And they've actually just enabled the ability to add new Solana wallets as well as to edit old ones. So if you made a mistake, you can change it now. And if you hadn't started in season 1, you can still start farming this one today. And then there's actually some other ways you can qualify for round 2 of Gummy. One of them is to sign up for some of the different exchanges that the Banter team promotes on their platform. Another one is to join their private communities. Those last 2 options are a little bit more of a hurdle, but if you want to do the easiest way, it's definitely just by keeping Banter Bubbles open in running in your computer. All right, next up, Switchboard, which is that new project within the Solana ecosystem that's kind of a competitor to Pyth, has launched their airdrop checker. So if you go to the Switchboard website now and click up here in the top where it says orbs, you can paste in your wallet address and see if you're going to be eligible for this airdrop. You can't actually check and see how many orbs you have right now, but in terms of the way to actually get them, it's basically just to interact with the different apps that they partner with. So Camino, MarginFi, Solon, there's a bunch of them listed here. And the more different apps that you interact with within the Solana ecosystem that use Switchboard for price oracles, the more orbs you will earn and the greater the airdrop allocation that you'll get. So I'll leave a link to this down below. You can go and check to see if you're eligible, and maybe you'll be able to see soon exactly how many orbs you have. All right, next up, we've got a confirmation post today from Layer 0 themselves that the Layer 0 token is coming, and it's going to be here before the end of June 2024, which is the end of half 1. So they previously had said that it would be before this, but there hadn't been any updates recently, and now we have, again, another confirmation. So basically the key takeaway from this is, A, you're running out of time to farm this, but B, you probably still have a chance to push transactions, to generate volume, to interact with as many different chains as you can using Layer 0 protocol. And if you push a bunch of transactions between now and the announcement, you could still get an allocation. So I would say don't stop clicking until we have the snapshot confirmation. All right, next up, if you got an allocation for Lightlink Season 1, you can go and claim your allocation today. Trading is going to be live tomorrow, so you can click Phase 1 on the application here. And if you completed Proof of Humanity and were eligible, then you can collect your allocation now. Next up, if you ever used the Magpie protocol bridge, and if you were farming the Layer 3 airdrop, Magpie was actually included in some of their quests. They had a hack. They have apparently stopped the bleeding, but you should still go to Revoke Cache and revoke any approvals that you have that interact with the Magpie protocol just to be extra safe. I hate to see stuff like this, and if you were impacted by this hack, they have said that they're going to be doing compensation for people. However, if you are trying to apply for compensation, make sure that it's from actually the Magpie protocol official account on Twitter. I've already seen in the comments of some of these tweets a bunch of scammers that are trying to take your money, basically. So be careful when clicking on anything. Next up, it looks like there's going to be an allocation of the IONET token to Backpack Exchange traders. And you have until May 5th at 7 a.m. UTC to qualify for this. So they've laid out the exact roadmap. And if you want to get an IONET airdrop by trading on Backpack, you know exactly what you need to do. They say that volume matters. Next up, if you've been farming the DGen airdrop by commenting and tipping on Warpcaster, definitely go and check and make sure that you haven't been excluded or banned from that airdrop, because they just banned 2,000 users that they suspected were just Sybils farming the airdrop and not actually contributing to the community. There's always a fine line between spamming and sibling and trying to max qualify on as many wallets as possible. And if you overstep the line, stuff like this can happen. All right, next up, if you're farming the Runecoin airdrop via Memeland staking, there's a final quest and you can earn some points for this. They said there's 12 hours left. This is the final call, and that was this morning, a couple of hours ago. So as soon as you're watching this, go and take action if you want to participate in this. All right, next up, on the Alien X airdrop, they released a post today talking about how they're enabling staking now, and then they said down here in number 6 that Alien X mainnet is going to be live 60 days after the launch of staking. So I'm assuming that means the TGE and the token airdrop is going to happen in about 2 months. It's actually longer than I thought it would be, so still have some waiting to do on this one. Then I wanted to give you 2 additional test nets that you can farm today if you're looking for free opportunities. The Camp network is in testnet, and they're actually relatively under the radar. I haven't seen anyone really talking about them. They have less than 10,000 followers on Twitter. They have a few $1 million in funding from some pretty legit people. They're part of the whole modular L2 narrative, and they've got a little breakdown on how you can interact with their testnet. It's possible that there could be some rewards for being an early adopter. So that is one new testnet option that you're definitely early to. And then another testnet that actually a lot of people have been talking about is Curvance. They've confirmed that there is going to be a token. However, in order to start interacting with the testnet, you need an invite. There's a few different ways to get it. For example, if you're part of specific communities like the Pike community, then you might have access. Otherwise, I would say follow the Curvance page on Twitter and enable notifications so that you can get updates on when access is going to be enabled at different phases of this testnet. And then finally, I found an NFT that you can mint on Zora that will cost basically $0. So this is an NFT that you mint and pay for it using the Enjoy token. Enjoy is that meme coin on the Zora L2, kind of similar to what DGen is on Base. You can buy a tiny amount on Uniswap if you want by copying the contract address and then pasting it in. And by the way, this is all on the Zora L2 network, so you need to have that enabled in your wallet. One Enjoy token costs 0.04 cents, so a tiny fraction of a penny. If you swap into some of it using the Uniswap feature on Zora, then you can actually mint one of these for 1 Enjoy plus gas fees. So that means you can mint one of these basically for nothing. So let's say I'm going to mint 111 of these, and I'm actually going to tip some Enjoy as well. You can see that this is basically going to cost me $0 to max mint this, because gas fees on Zora are pretty much 0, and 111 Enjoy tokens is still like 1 penny. So let's go ahead and mint 111 of these. And again, the reason why I'm showing you this is because when the Zora airdrop eventually happens, if they have some sort of qualifier that's based on the number of NFTs minted, now you can see I've minted 112 of these. So this is a super, super cheap way to get a ton of NFT mints on Zora. Otherwise, you pay sometimes $2.50 per mint, whereas here you can pay literally a penny to mint 100. So that's it. So that's it for today's alpha. Hopefully you found this useful. I know this was a long one, tons of stuff happening today. So thanks so much for watching all the way to the end, and have a great day.